Okay, Katalin, thank you very much. It was really cool presentation, really cool. Katalin is genius in my team, in our team. So like he is really best in deployment in this stuff like publishing the application. If you have any question about how to publish some API, how to publish application, or how to deploy anything quickly with the ARM templates or scripts, so ask the Katalin about this. And if you have the question, by the way, you can use the chat here on the presentation. So like you can ask the questions. We will try to answer after. I'm not sure that Katalin will stay here. Will you?
Yeah, I'll be here. I'll be here.
Okay,
I want to see your VM monitoring tools. So
yeah, you know these tools, by the way. Anyway, okay, so like let's go with the second part of this presentation. So second part is about automation of Azure infrastructure monitoring with log analytics and with the PowerShell, how it works, how to use it, and why you have to use exactly this scenario and why you have to use exactly this method. So like quickly about me. So like we work together with Katalin on Etisalat. So my previous roles, my previous position in Microsoft, as far as Katalin and me, we worked for Microsoft for many years. And so background, you can see my blog, etc., and LinkedIn mostly. If I am publishing something about the technical solution on the LinkedIn, so like just join to the LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile will be ready to answer for the question. So today we will talk about the monitoring automation. We will talk about the vital counters in Azure Object, how to get it, what is exactly Azure metrics, what is Azure log analytics and insights. We will talk about the choosing between Azure metrics or log analytics or VM insights, and look how the insights and logs work with Portal, Query, PowerShell. Unfortunately, Katalin did the really cool presentation, great presentation and demo. My presentation on my part, less demo, more theoretical. No, I will show my screen and show the code, but unfortunately it will take a lot of time to exactly create the code. So I will try to show just exactly the basic things with already done scripts that we exactly use for some customers or present for the customers, etc., etc. We will talk about it. It's like one of the main question: why do not use Azure alerts? Why you are using the monitor? Why are you using the log analytics with scripting? And exactly, I will show how to create monitoring scripts step by step. So the idea of the session to provide you the way how you can create universal scripts that could be executed anywhere in any PowerShell machine, whatever it can be Windows machine, Linux machine, it could be Azure execution, etc., etc. So, and how you can get any information from each virtual machine or Express Road Gateway or Azure Site Recovery. I'm especially prepared some script that will show these scenarios. And before it starts, so again, so what is Azure Monitor? It's not exactly the monitor itself, it's the subsystem to access the logs, whatever it's stored. So the metrics, the log analytics, the activities, alerts, insights, etc., inside the Azure. So when you use the Azure portal and switch to the monitor here, you will see exactly what we are talking about. So like this is activity logs where you can choose and analyze what's going on, what's happened, who creates, what creates, etc. There we will talk about the alerts, how to create alerts and react on some events inside the Azure or inside the virtual machine, etc. Again, we'll talk about why proposed scenario more effective than just alerts. Metrics, just free to use from the Microsoft, from the Azure, where you can get not any, but metrics, logs, etc., etc. So when we are talking about the Azure Monitor, it's not about some concrete solution. It's just only the way how you can get different data from the Azure, from the different part of the Azure, and interactively present. Unfortunately, for the Azure Monitor, we have not a lot of the PowerShell scripting tools, etc., etc. It's just to understand, for your understanding about the monitor itself. Azure Metrics, what is it? Frankly saying, it's like useless from my perspective and from our scope of work. And it's like just a legacy solution to have a quick view, to have a quick understanding of what's going on. Typically, we are using this metrics, Azure metrics for virtual machine, etc., just to troubleshooting, just to understand quickly what's going on inside the virtual machine, what's happened, is it possible to change, check, etc., etc. Let's see the metrics always here, and the metrics always free. So this is name it monitor, but do not give you full. This is just only the metrics. The same metrics you can find on any virtual machines here to work on it. And you can choose from the proposed metrics and find exactly the way how to work. Plus, you can use the PowerShell scripts. And on the PowerShell scripts, you can use the commands like a get AZ metrics, get AZ definition. I will discuss about this quickly. On the scripts, I am trying to not use this comments, this CMD. So why, I will discuss this later. But anyway, we are trying to create the script with universal solution that will not depend on the installed modules, etc., etc. But these modules are required to have exactly AZ command. So like, let's see, get AZ metrics. And it's, as you can see, required the ID. To find the ID, we can get it here. Copy it, paste it, and we will get we will get a lot of results. And here you can see, for example, the data. So by default, you can see that this command returns 10 parameters, 10 rows with parameters, name it a percentage, CPU, etc. If you want to have different scenario with the different parameters, etc., you need to have this command, get AZ metrics definition, and after that, use the definition and like a parameter for the request. But anyway, again, so like this is legacy this is legacy solution that we are trying to not use directly on the scripts. Yeah, you see, this is a different definition that you can use and ask the system about this parameters. But anyway, the parameters is quite limited and you can't work with all objects with monitor and metrics. And this is why you need to use the Azure Log Analytics. This is the main tool to collect, store, and analyze any vital counters or operations log or diagnostics logs, etc., etc. So like Azure Log Analytics use the workspaces paradigm. It means that you can create a lot of different Azure Log Analytics objects. Each one will be named like a workspace, and you can store the different data, different parameters, different things on the different workspaces. Plus, on the different workspaces, you can register different solutions or different Azure Operations Management Suite trackers, etc., etc. And you can collect again any data inside the log analytics for the further analysis, reaction, etc., and automation, etc. So it's used for insights, diagnostic activities, as I mentioned before, local as a solution, etc. Plus, you can do your own solution if you want. But anyway, let's see how it looks like. Where is my solutions? So this one, it's already activated solution inside the My Log Analytics. You can see that it's security insights, it's change tracking for the solution, it's virtual machine insights inside the solution. So like this is the trackers that collect and store the data on the Log Analytics. We can turn on, for example, OMS agents, and OMS agents will send additional data to the Log Analytics. And plus, Log Analytics is a source for other things like alert rules. So like you can use Log Analytics and queries for the Log Analytics to get this, to be the triggers for the alerts, to export some data, for example, to the Power BI, if you need to have more effective scenarios to analyze. Again, so for example, Sentinel, Azure Sentinel use the Log Analytics and export from the Log Analytics to get required data. You can create dashboards and views, and you can use the PowerShell to analyze the Log Analytics to get the information. And most of the important things inside the Log Analytics, it's a query language. You need to understand, you need to work with the query language. It's a KUSTO query language, KQL, yeah, right? And there's a lot of information. So like just see on this query language, like any SQL query standard requests, etc., with the different notice, but there is additional options that you can use, like a tabular operations, scalar operations, scalar function, aggregation, etc. Window function, by the way, it's really cool. Plus additional machine learnings, etc., etc. So the language itself is really cool, and all these tricks, like get additional data, look on the additional statistical information or vital signs, etc., inside virtual machines, etc. It's only your knowledge inside the KUSTO query language. Again, I will not explain the KUSTO query language itself. I will just do some demos, how it looks like, how it works, etc. And let's start with the first scenario. So we have here the Log Analytics workspace that's connected with my virtual machines, and virtual machines send the data to this Log Analytics workspace like a virtual machine insights. So to turn it on is easy. You can just go to any virtual machine. It's already turned it on, but anyway, you can use insights and you can enable, it's already turned it on, enable Log Analytics with the selected name of the Log Analytics workspace. For the PowerShell, you can do this automatically. Just start the get as VMs and use this list, returned list of virtual machines to turn it on one by one insights. So it's easiest process, but anyway, You can see what's going on inside the virtual machines. You can see performance. You can see a lot of additional things and a lot of additional analysis, like you see, not just only the standard way of the 95%. You can see the I say, etc. to understand with your performance. So it's just only turn it on. After that, you can go to the log analytics itself. You can go to this workspace. You can go to the logs, or you can create the different dashboards, etc. But anyway, we are not using the dashboards due to its interactive. We don't need to have interactive. We need inside metrics, for example, like this way. And you will have exactly the full information about each virtual machine. You can see there's a 2 virtual machine, one of the VM01, etc., etc. And the second one, I can do the where, let's say, times generated, greater or equal ago 10 minutes. So you will get all information about virtual machines logs with it 1 minute. And after that, I can do project. I mean, that's return only selected objects, only selected columns. Let's see, namespace. And value. And let's do, let's do here, for example, namespace. So this is the way how you can do this. And plus, more interesting things that you can do render with whatever, what you want to see. Let's do the column chart. This is your CPUs for all machines inside the log analytics. We can again filter with the name of the machine, etc., etc. This is one of the scenarios that we can use. This is the query language with the KUSTO. And on the KUSTO also, I want to show you some additional things that you can use directly. For example, this scenario, guess what you can see? You can see real usage of the express route. So this is express route statistic between two on-premise and Azure locations. And there you can see the output bits, input bits per second, output bandwidth load, in bandwidth load, kilobits per second, etc. And again, the same scenario. We just put this data to the log analytics, and after that we can use it with different scenarios. Render, let's do the same. Oops, and right now you can see, for example, the period. So this one, it's for last 12 hours in real time with the periods like this one, and this one. We can see more high loaded than other times till the day. It's one scenario and additional scenario just to understand that how you can easily use for any, I mean, log analytics and KUSTO for any analysis inside the Azure. This one, it's Azure Site Recovery RPO. So you can see that for 17, I think 17 machines, you have, for the 17 machines, most of machines have the less than 1 minute RPO, and 2 machines have 1.5 minutes RPO. So like, we know that infrastructure is good. We know that the replication works correctly. We know that additional overloading inside the application is low, so works fine, and we can be sure that we lost less data in case of some catastrophic event or something like this. And what exactly we can do after? Oops, sorry. We can set up all this query with the script or alerts to react on some situations. So what is the Azure Alerts? Azure Alerts, it's a part of Azure monitoring system, and you can use the Azure Alerts to do some reaction. It's easiest way to automate your Azure infrastructure monitoring, etc. And I will try to show you, for example, the scope. One of the scope, sorry, resource type, one of the scope will be the log analytics here, workspace. You can see, for example, my workspace. And inside my workspace, what I will do some conditions. So exactly the signal logic. This condition will be, it's predefined queries that you can use, for example, or you can create your own custom log query. It will be generated automatically. For example, I want to create the metric measure that's greater than 100. I know, wait. I need to have the number of resource, and it will be greater than this one for the period of 5 minutes and frequency 5 minutes. It will generate, why not? Come on. It should generate the empty logic. Just a second. Okay. Signal types, logs. View logs, it will be empty, and again I need number of resource. I need to be greater than nope. Whatever. Anyway, we will need to put here some request conditions, what we need to check, what we need to review, etc. By the way, we can use other one. Let's see all events. Let's put it automatically, number of the events more than 100, and done. So this is condition. It means that if some logs in events more than 1000, it will trigger this event. And how we can react? We can react this with the additional groups. But main problem here is that's reaction. You can see automation runbooks, etc., etc., etc. It's quite strict and quite small. And the most important things of the Azure alerts, yes, you can react on some events. You can react and execute some actions like automation runbooks, etc. But you have a lot of limitation. For example, number of the fields of analysis is limited. If you need to analyze a lot of different parameters in one request, you can't do this inside the signal logic. Even with the custom script, you can do only one parameter, like average of one parameter or maximum of one parameter, etc. Return just only one thing, or you can get just only the number of the returned rows. So this is one of the issue. Second issue, you can't send the query result with the email directly. Yes, you can send the notification inside the alert, but it's not possible to send the result directly with required review, with required additional ways, etc. Plus, you can't use dynamic parameters to execute, for example, different runbooks, different function, different logic application in case of different parameters that's returned by the query. It's why we are not using the Azure alerts to work with the solution. And anyway, we don't need to have only the alerts like one reaction. We need to have advanced logic after the alert itself. So anyway, we will start the scripts and all logic will work outside the alert. So it's easiest to use exactly this custom scripts to do alerts, to do analyzing with the different scenarios. So, and this one, it's typical request from the customers. For example, why we are using it, analyze and react to the set of vital signs and counters from the different objects with a lot of different complex logic. Please check this one. This one, in case of these two parameters, is compatible, do the next query. If not compatible, do the additional queries, etc., etc. This logic, it's quite tricky and quite complex to create one custom query that could be injected inside the alert. So it's easiest to do the script with the different, for example, custom query that will after that create the massive array of the data and analyze this data inside the PowerShell or again inside the custom. Plus, log analytics is like a tool for the another scripts. For example, we have the script that start and stop virtual machine by schedule. But even if you have the virtual machine to be scheduled to stop like at 7 p.m., you have to be sure that all processes is done and the typical workload is lower than the current workload is lower than typical workload over the business days, that there is no any updates installed and there is no any users connected to this machine or doing some task, etc., etc. If you look to the log analytics from the virtual machine perspective, you can see what's going on inside the virtual machine itself. Just a second, you see that we can see the processes here, and all these processes could be mapped with the different, let's do this one. Come on. With the different ports, with the different servers and how it works. This is the one of the really interesting scenarios for the log analytics. And for example, I can check in the Microsoft Corporation scenarios that's nothing for installation going on. Or for example, on the terminal service, there's no one connected. You see that you can't see that someone connected from this part to the terminal services. It could be checked directly from the from the log analytics, from the KUSTO, etc. So we are using the scripts, custom scripts, to do some executions, to do some changes inside virtual machine, to stop virtual machine, and we are using it to understand what's going on inside machine, to stop, start, etc., etc. Automated reporting. So, like, unfortunately, Azure has no tools for automated reporting, like queries, right? So, like, I can do any queries, I can do any analytics, etc. But unfortunately, I can't do this on the schedule base with the required coloring, with the required attachment, etc., etc. Most of the customer requests for the automated monitoring, it's please send us every 6 hours the email with the current status, with the coloring objects, with the attachments, with the graphics bars, etc., etc. Please do this, and we will be happy. Due to for the CIO or senior managers level of the IT inside the different companies, they are not care about what's going on. They are not care about the dashboards, etc. The email, unfortunately, it's like most of the effective way to communicate with the customer or most required features for the customer. So this one, what you can do exactly for the customer. And if you look for my, for example, emails, it's my mailbox, you can see exactly the same script that you can see express route utilization. This one, it's for the exactly that 12 hours. And you can see what's going on with virtual machine on the schedule with 1 minute interval. And if some high loads, for example, this one, you can see that's like it's colored this way. Plus, you can see the 3 attachment here. It's express route report for the 5 minutes. It's express route report for the 1 minute average, right? And the bar, so it's graphics report for the 10 minutes. For example, if I will try to open this attachment, I will see this report. It's HTML file injected to the email by PowerShell script that show you the same data that you can see before. If you look here, where is it? Is it the same? Yep. So it's again generated by PowerShell and sent it to the customer by the scheduled scenario. It's how we work and how to analyze. Plus, one of the most important things of all scenarios or monitoring, and one of the most important requests from the customers, please provide us universal scenario that we can use anywhere. It should be the PowerShell script with no any additional modules like a universal script with no requirements to install the Azure PowerShell, etc., etc., with no any requirements for the additional interactive work, like before start the script, you need to log into the Azure, or script will ask you to log into the Azure, etc. No, I can show you this scenario right now. For example, you see, this is a PowerShell. I am not connected to the Azure at all. Now, this is just a PowerShell module. And if I start it do something. And I will receive the next, no. I will receive the junk, yes. I will receive the same email. Move to not junk, but with the new data here. Yep, here. And we can see the same script. We can see the same result, not the same. Oops, sorry. Where is it? I closed it, previous one, but anyway, you can see that data is changed, etc. It's quite moved right, etc. So the same one we can do the way with the jar replica. You saw the scripts that execute the data and parameters. Right now, the data is changed. For now, you can see that 3 machine on the not it's healthy, but for the customer side, they thought that more than 5 minutes, it's quite more than normal situation. And the normal situation, you can see just only 2 machines, etc. So this script works exactly the same like we did here. And all of the scripts, as you can see, not required. Where is it? Where is mine? Oops. Yeah, here. Not required any analytics, any connections, any additional requests, etc. I just started. So like you see, more than 5 minutes, it's 8 machines right now. It will be refreshed automatically. So for example, this script, like it is used for call next scenarios, like send the alerts, check the performance of the machines, check the performance of the networking, etc. It's just only the core monitoring solution plus interactive scripts that show me what's going on inside the customer infrastructure. After that, let's see how to do exactly the PowerShell scripting to automate Azure monitoring. What you need, what is prerequisites for this one? It's just only 2 main prerequisites here. First one, you need to create at first application registration. Application registration will be used by the script to connect to the infrastructure without any additional requirements. I mean, without any interactive logons, etc., etc. If you copy and paste, this scenario, this script, just a second. Where is it? Where are you? This one. Here. And use it inside the, I hope anyone is familiar for Azure Cloud Shell. Why it's not closed? Oh. Just a second. Do not do this on the public demos. I will explain why. Okay, so paste. And right now, I have not enough privileges. But anyway, okay, I will. We have previous one. Anyway, this command will return you a few parameters. One of the parameters will be ID of the application. Second one, it's more important, the security string or password for this application. These parameters will be shown only one time per creation. Please copy this data. It will be 4 lines. Copy this data, paste to the text file, and store this text file to the secret place. For example, on the Azure Vault, Key Vault, like a secret. So it's really important due to by knowing 2 things, ID and password for the application, you will be able to log into the Azure, to your Azure subscription and do anything. To check that it was created or not created. By the way, I know the issue. I will create right now. It was wrong PowerShell on other subscription. Okay, so you can see that it's created the account, and we will see this one. You need application ID, you need password, you need tenant anyway to check this. So this is only one time when you can see this application. Anyway, to avoid any hacking from your side, I will immediately delete. So this is a Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. This is our application. Okay, now hope you have no chance to copy. Just to understand that this application, if you go to the subscription and go to the roles assignment, you will see that this one, web access demo application, is contributor, so it has any rights except all the rights to the resource. So the subscription and all resource groups and all other objects is available. You can play with the security rights, etc., etc. But anyway, for now, I will just delete the application. It's the best way to protect my infrastructure. Yeah, I deleted right. Yeah. Okay. So it's gone. Yep. That ID should be copied and stored one time, and you will use it after that. Second prerequisite for the scripts, if you're planning to send any emails, the best way to send emails is use the SendGrid application. It's SaaS service to send emails. You can create it directly from the Azure, no issue, and it's for free, by the way. So SendGrid accounts. I have this one. You can create additional one. It will redirect you to the SendGrid portal to manage it, etc., etc. Again, the most important thing there is like to have the same security connection line to connect to the SendGrid to send emails. It's free up to 25 emails per month. Plus, it will require a new PowerShell runtime. Please install at least 5th version, but better it will be 7th version, plus Visual Studio Code. It's the best for now, best free scripting tool ever. Trust me. Hope it's the same. Yeah. So it's this is PowerShell, and you can see the script that's exactly execute and send the data like email from the express route. And here we go into the next part. So like it's the script parameters and most blocks of the script. First one, to work normally, to identify normally, etc., you need tenant ID, you need registration ID and secret that's shown by the command when you create application registration. You need workplace ID, log analytics workplace ID to get the data, and you can use the you need the SendGrid secret too to work with. All this typically parameters place it here. You can see on my script. I will publish this dummy script with clearer data. Typically, it's like you can see the mandatory fields, and I tattoo it or use some parameter file to start the scripts, etc. Or if you're using the Azure automation, you can send this like attributes of the Azure automation runbook, etc. So you can hard coded all required parameters here, whatever. Next part, it's exactly what is the scripting block. First one, to work universally with just a pure PowerShell code, you need to authenticate in Azure directly with OAuth token. So how it works, it's work easily due to Azure has the massive, really massive API. So look, this one, it's a login URL. And here, if you see, it's a formatted string, and 0 means that tenant ID from the parameters will be used like a part of the screen. So this is a string. So this variable will have exactly the right login for your application. Second one, it's like which resource you are trying to authenticate. So we are planning to use API for log analytics IO. These two variables will be used to generate the right body. Right body means that here will be, you see, grant type. We are asking for the client credentials token. Second one, resource will be resource, exactly this string. Client ID will be client ID from the parameters, application ID. Client secret will be client secret. And after that, this is exactly the way how you authenticate in Azure, non-interactively, without any interaction with the user, etc., etc. We just invoke REST method with this URL and this body that will present all required information. After that, inside the variable OAuth, you have required login tokens that you can use to authenticate whatever. Second one, you need to build required KUSTO query, like a string. This one, it's my query. Yeah, this one. We will need the workplace, like a variable. You can see it here with variable ID that's used like a parameter. You can use the different workspace ID. You can use whatever you want, like how many workspace ID you want to ask. And here you can see the network monitoring, blah, 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 etc., etc. Just only like one line, the same that you saw before here. It's just only the same line in one. So when I'm doing the any scripts, etc., I just go through the query designer, do required scripts after that. But anyway, render will not work. For the render, it's required additional steps. Anyway, this is the scripts. This is the body that we need to create. So you can see the body like a query and query string. Here, we need to have token type. We need to access token itself. And I create this next step. For the next step, there is, you can see the invoke web request for log analytics service with the token and query to get the data. And the next step is transform result to required format. For me, it's more easily to work not with the JSON, but with the PowerShell arrays, with the PowerShell tables. So there is a huge, not huge, but quite big function called log API. This call log API takes the URI, body, token, etc., and execute with all these parameters. This is like a header. It's authorization with returned type and returned token. And here you can see invoke, header, URI, API body that generated before, and content type JSON. It's returns the JSON. I take the content from the return. So like I just ask the API directly, log analytics API directly, get the data, get the content, convert this content from the JSON, and after that convert this data to the named object with properties. It's just only the really easy logic. Don't worry. Again, I will post it on my, not YouTube, but my LinkedIn, etc. This is the next part. After that, what you need to do. First one, generate HTML body for emails from the result. So I have result, I translated this result to the standard object with the parameters, with the properties, etc., etc. If you need to have some attachment, for example, KSV or HTML, you need to have the base 64 arrays for this from these results. And all of this stuff you can see here. For example, this one was first step for authentication. This is the first call for the data. And after that, I started to do content. If you look for the application content, I create just a standard HTML file, like a body of the email, like just a string. For the attachment, for example, if I need attachment, it's named content bar, and there is additional CSS class that create exactly why you can see the HTML like a chart. It's exactly this class that's execute. And if you see, for example, content, I add the body, content, I add the table. After that, I do first one. So I have the results. I have the number of the lines inside the result. I convert the data from the universal time to the normal time inside the table. And I just generate the new table string in HTML, just pure HTML with the parameters that I got from the table, from the log analytics, and add it to content and the table. This one, it's really tricky part. This one, it's exactly conversion, the result itself. So I have the object with the all results from the query with the named columns and data, blah, 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 like this one. You can see it. I just convert this result to KSV with use quotas as needed automation. And it's really important to add here new line due to for the Excel and the PowerShell, the new line is different. It's just like a bug fixing. And plus you can see for the Azure automation, I have other bug fixing. It's commented here. This line should be used. You see this different type of the command, different attributes inside the command and parameters for the log analytics, for the Azure automation runbooks and for the PowerShell itself. After that, I use this object and convert it in Unicode with the bytes, and after that convert these 3 bytes to the base 64 string, and after that I can use it for the encoded text. After that, I repeat for the second table. You can see with it the same different parameters. This is, by the way, Azure automation fix 2 due to count does not work here. The same, but for the second table and with the required coloring from the customer side. Customer says that please do this red, please do this yellow, please do this green, blah, blah, blah. So all of this you can see here. Next table, next conversion from the result like object to CSV, from the CSV to the bytes, and from the bytes to the base string. And the last one, it's more interesting due to I use not content with HTML. This one, it's content with the HTML file for the email body. This one, it's HTML file for the bars that I demonstrated before. You can see, again, so this one, it's requirements to fix Azure automation runbooks. And here, we again generate, where is it? Yep, here. Generate additional content, but I don't need to convert this result to the CSV like Excel. I just use the content bar like text. Plus, this text is not converted. If you look previously, there you will see Unicode. I don't need Unicode for my HTML. I need ASCII and get the bytes and convert it to the base 64. So this one, it's how exactly works these two parameters. So this is not rocket science. It just only the blocks to work with the data. And the last one, send grid. The send grid is most interesting thing. So like you create a new object. This new object should have headers like authorization. You can see border, and there should be the key of your connection. This is the content types that you want to present inside the solution. So it's like application JSON. There, my email, destination email. This is from email. And this one is the subject. This one is the name of the file for attachment. And after that, I just generate the JSON body to send by send grid. If you look, this is like a beginning of the body. First parameters, it's personalization, to email and name, from email and name, subject, content. I put all strings that I created before with the two tables like text HTML and put content here. And also I put 3 attachments. You can see the first attachment, content. This is encoded text that we created for the first CSV file, and attachment name just for that attachment. So the content encoded text for the second CSV file, and this one thought it's HTML file. After that, I create the JSON with the depth 4 and execute send grid API with the requirements headers and bodies. So it's how all this script works. So we already saw this replica, we already saw this test. Okay, let's see with virtual machines. Again, so you see magic. I did not touch anything. This script could use anywhere, started from anywhere where the PowerShell is. And what we can see here, okay, in junk again. This is, yep. I say not junk. Yeah, virtual machine. So this one is for virtual machine. It takes the virtual machine, it takes for 1 hour, the memory, current state of the memory, current states for the heartbeats, how many heartbeats was missed or not. There is a file system with the disk CD or a root and MNT with the total space, free space, etc., with all parameters that you can use. What's different between two scripts? Nothing. Just only they change the scripts, the query lines. After that, like some logic was modified to generate different tables inside the HTML body. That's all. And the last one, okay, I saw it. How to convert this to the Azure Automation Runbook, for example, and some pitfalls. So like to start this, like Azure Automation, you need to install the Azure AZ Automation module inside the Azure Automation. You have to understand that Azure Automation uses the legacy version of the PowerShell version 5 instead of the common right now version 7. So some CMDlets, some parameters, some properties, and string translation could be different. It's why I have these options like here. Yeah. So this one is new lines. This one is this way. All of this could be different. You need to understand that time zone issue exists. So what it means? It means, for example, again, on the beginning of my script, you will find this bug fixing. When you do the get the date here, this get the date inside Azure Automation should be converted to the universal time due to I don't know where exactly the script will be executed. After that, I will take, for example, for the Gulf Arabian Standard Time, and we'll have the exactly required time here to put it inside the all reports or all queries. Next one, end of the line, already discussed it. And again, to generate charts, you can't use the render parameter inside the request. You need to use the CSS class. Again, this CSS class is not rocket science, and it's not required any additional scripts, any additional downloading, any additional styles or anything like JavaScript, etc. It works directly as is inside the attachment. With the HTML body, unfortunately, it does not work. Outlook blocks this CSS style, and you will not see the graphics. I tried to put the same like part inside the body of email and send it. No graphs, just only the places for the graphs. So this is the other way. And again, so this proposed scenario provide you universal way to work with the Azure log analytics without any additional requirements. You don't need to install anything. You don't need to authenticate. You can use this like inside the Azure Automation with the schedule or with webhooks or alerts. So you can create the Azure Automation runbook, put on the schedule, and it will work. For example, some customer ask, please do this for us every 6 hours to get the data. Okay, fine. We will use your application inside our automation, I mean application ID, put it like parameters, and this runbook will be executed exactly on this way. Or you can do this like webhooks, so like start directly this automation or over alerts. The same way for the Azure function, but Azure function, it's more preferred due to for Azure function, it's easily to manipulate with the timer, with the schedule. So Azure functions have the binding. This binding means that you can bind the different of Azure function with different events. For example, timer events or HTTP calls with the selected URL like a webhooks, or with something changed inside the Azure, inside the logs, inside the tables, queries, etc., etc. And again, with alerts. You can execute the same code inside the Azure Cloud Shell, copy the file and execute. And more important things that you can use, you can do this from anywhere, from any another command prompts. You can do from any another schedulers that use the PowerShell core runtime outside the Azure. So what it means? It means, for example, by the way, I am on the vacation today, this week and previous week, and I am at home on my home country, but where is it? It's closed. Yep. I am connecting to my Raspberry Pi that's staying on my apartment in Dubai Marina. Yeah, I know. And there is the same, just don't worry. It's the same script, trust me, you can see. I just don't, this is like with hard-coded data, etc. So you can see the parameters to do. Where is it? Too slow. Okay. So Raspberry Pi, Visual Studio Code with the Raspberry Pi. No any Azure PowerShell modules, nothing. You did not see, right? Import the module like az.azure, blah, blah, blah. So this is the same script, and you can see that it's returns the same result like we have here for the, yeah. Nope. No. Here, sorry. So you can see like 5 minutes, 3 machines. There's 2 machines. Maybe something changes this time, but quite the same. This is the same script, copy and paste it from the different machines, or copy the files, and you can start on any platform. That's what exactly required from the customers, due to just some customer asked, please provide us the script to monitor, to see what's going on, etc. And this script, like a PowerShell script, could be really easy wrapped for another application, or use the same scenario, same API with .NET, Python, I don't know what you're using. You can use the same scenario like I presented before. And in this case, you can do anything with the monitoring, reaction, send into the customer request, analyze what's going on, execute other scripts, etc., with really flexible way. And yep, thank you and welcome to the Azure UAE meetups. And let's discuss. If you have the question to me or Katalin, we're ready to discuss the presented information. Let's see. Nothing on the chat.
Igor, I'm gonna inform you on this. I was just informed that the comments section is disabled for our session today. So if anybody has any questions, we will upload this session on YouTube and also on the meetups, on the meetups.com, right, on meetup.com. And if anybody has any follow-up questions or something like that, we will address them there. So the comments are disabled by default. I don't know why is that, but in case anybody has any follow-up questions, just reach out to us on LinkedIn or stuff like that, and we'll be happy to help and to answer the questions.
Yeah, anyway, you can also reach us, me and Katalin, on the LinkedIn. It's the easiest way to connect to each other.
Yep. So probably people had questions today, but probably they weren't able to actually put any questions in the comments section. So
I can see on the comment section on the website meetup.com. I can see just only one session. Thank you, Katalin, for the front door demo. It's very informative and detailed session. Okay, you're welcome. So thank you. Yeah, go.
It will be a comment with your session as well. I'm sure of that. Don't worry.
No issue. So thank you all, and please left your comments on the meetup.com. Plus, again, try to contact with me or Katalin by LinkedIn. It's easy to find us both on the LinkedIn. And welcome to the meeting, and thank you that joined us today.